Hello. I think others have joined. So, can I have a quick glance of the specialization, which the subjects which you all deal in, so that I'll be able to correlate in the talks. I can see there are a few participants who have joined recently. Sudeshna ji has joined, and Swati ji has joined. So,
So to give example, I would also request you to give example from finance also, from because I'm working on a paper related to the share markets and equities.
okay,
So how we can get the literature review from that? So it would be
yeah,
of great help.
yeah. So I'll try to give examples related to the behavioral finance or the stock market. So that is just query based. So any of the keyword will work, right?
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. So, anybody else having any query regarding the download of the software or the research papers which has been shared as a data set? Okay, so we'll just wait for the others to join and then we'll start.
Dr. Pandya, at sharp you can start. People will keep on joining. Right?
Yeah, yeah. So there are yeah, couple of minutes left. So I'll just wait for the others to join, and in the meantime, I can solve the queries of anybody else who is there in the area, right? So I can see some of the messages that few of the students are research scholar working in the area of finance. Few of them are working in the area of human resource management, which is my area particularly. So I'll try to give the examples regarding finance and marketing also, right? Okay, so I have received a response from a query from Norbuji. So it says that installing when you're trying to open, it says it can take an hour. Sir, at what time did you actually start to install it? Is your system slow? The software is around 530 MB, so it will take little bit of time to start. So I think that would have been done earlier. So I think you can just have some patience and let it download, because the initial part of the session will concentrate on the literature review, the theoretical background, and the importance. So hope so till then your software gets downloaded, right?
Sir, this side, Dr. Pooja. Sir, I have an issue that
Yeah.
when I have downloaded the Nvivo, when I open the Nvivo, it asks for the email ID and password, and I
Yeah.
have done that. But the next time when I open, it will shows that will be wrong password. Then I have to again reset and then able to use. So every time it will showing that is a wrong password.
No, but you must have received a verification code in your
Yes,
mail, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That I have
From that you
received,
have to
and yes,
join.
I have doing the reset from that email ID only. But when I have once
Okay.
set the password and close the Nvivo, and the second time when I open, it will ask for
Mhm.
login, and when I log in, it asks email and password, and it is showing that there is a wrong password, and then I have to reset by using the email ID on which I have received the verification.
Okay. So did you save the password, or like why is it showing wrong? I think you can
I don't know. I don't know,
click
but
on the
maybe
option of
it
keep
was
me
it is
logged
open.
in.
Okay, it is shown that I have opened this Nvivo environment, but I'm not able to know that is it a correct one or not. It was showing the Nvivo, and there will be a my name is there, and there is a get started resources and modules, and here it is sites. It was showing like the name and sign out, so I'm not able to know
On
whether
the
it is.
on the left panel, do you see the Nvivo and 4 stars and projects
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah,
There will be a 4 stars, and then there will be a menu bar in which on which it was written product range, try, purchase, quote, and download Nvivo.
okay, yeah. So now is it open in your desktop, or again it
Yeah,
is
it is
asking
open.
for the password?
No, it is open on my desktop.
Okay, so we can continue with the session, and what you can do is you can click on the checkbox that keep me logged in. So in that way,
Okay, no
it
problem,
won't
no problem. Yeah, yeah.
you won't get
On
logged
the
out, right?
one on yeah, yeah, on one tab I have already opened, so there's no problem. I have already opened, so
Yeah,
it was there
that's
on
good.
already sign
That's
in.
good. That's good.
So is it
That's good.
the correct one which I have downloaded? This is the correct one.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
The,
okay.
the the file size is somewhere around 530 MB, right? So you can once cross check. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, yeah, that is there. That is there.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Pandya, I think now it's 12 and we
Yeah.
should start because issues related with the software and all these things should have
Hmm.
been addressed earlier because I have sent the email
Yeah.
yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if
So we'll
somebody is trying to download it at the last moment, then I think even we are unable to help.
yeah.
So, you
Others
but
should not
still,
be.
if there is some issues which you can address to, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Now let's start the session.
Okay. Okay. So once again, I'll greet you all. Good morning from my side. I am Dr. B Pandya, and I've done my PhD from Triple IT. Today we will basically start and understand that the importance of literature review. Now, in each hour of our research work, be it thesis writing, or be it writing of the research papers for the peer review journals, or for the research proposals, we all do literature review. But the question and the content of the issue is, do we do it in a scientific manner? Do we do it in a comprehensive manner? And what should be the sequential flow or the logical flow of the literature review, so that it passes the scanning eye of the reviewer and the editor, and we can get it published in good journals, and also we can give a good writing the literature review, not thesis. So I'll start the presentation, and just a second. Yeah. So I hope the slides are visible to you all. Dr. Vishal, is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. So as the topic says, the art of writing a perfect literature, theoretical framework and practical handshake with Nvivo, which is the second practical part of our session. So we'll start with the first theoretical background, which should not be skipped, and we should try to understand that why is it important to do a very comprehensive literature review. Now, when we are in our uh, initial phase of the research, be be we are a research scholar in our first or second year, or be we are faculty, and we're trying to do a uh, write a research paper. Now, some of the mistakes which we generally do is that we go to Google or the Google Scholar and type the topic, and then we see that what are the previous literature work which has been done in that area. That procedure is not totally incorrect, but it is incomplete and non-comprehensive and non-scientific, right? So as the trend has come that we need to initially finalize the micro area of our research gradually from the macro area. So a comprehensive scan of the concerned literature is very, very important. That many of the times we receive the comments from the reviewers that how the author or the writer of the manuscript has ensured that your literature review is comprehensive in nature. So at times we don't have the proper reply to that, and it gives a very bad image in front of the reviewer, right? So this is the proper importance of the literature review, and we also get to know about the latest methodologies and research techniques which have been used in the previous researches of our micro area. That why qualitative research was used uh, in that section, when to use quantitative data. That it's not the case that some other literature has done qualitative research, so I will also go for that. There has to be some logical backing on the part of the researcher so that he or she can say that this was the reason I have gone for qualitative research. And by that process, we get to understand the literature gap, right? Getting on from the conclusion and the limitation and scope for the future work. Because you see, as a researcher and an academician, we all know that we generally don't do grounded theory research. That is, we don't generally start from scratch. What we do, we read the literature and we add to the huge mountain of literature which is there in the uh, existing area, right? So we just add, or you can say we differ with the logic or the conclusion of the previous researches, and we add to it. So that addition must be such logical that it pleases the reviewer, and in that manner we can get it the get the work published in a peer reviewed journal. That it should look like a proper addition or supplement to the existing work of the literature. Now the first step for a proper literature review is to search for a recently published review paper in the area. Now, for example, if somebody is working in the area of finance, like one of the respondents said, now be it behavioral finance or the perception of the people regarding the investment in the stock market. Now what can be done that for example in the year 2020 or 2019, we can see that what was the latest literature review paper which was published in a peer reviewed journal, and that from that we can know that which were the references and the works which were cited. Now this is how a chain is formed. Now the current slide says that the level 1 is of the recent latest review. From that we see that okay, some author X has worked on the perception of the investors in the stock market. Regarding the risk perception, how he perceives the risk, or if I take the example of an a subject in HR, then we can say that okay, the procedural justice in lowering down the attrition in IT organization. Now I need to understand that what are the which are the authors who have worked recently in that area. So that will actually create a key reference 1. There may be a key reference 2 and then 3, and that depends on the depth of the literature any researcher wants to carry out. Then next step is to probe further into the work of the researcher X. Now then we find X1, X2 and X3 continued. Then from those literature we will see that how the author has actually connected the employee attrition and employee satisfaction, or for that matter the rate of attrition in an organization. So basically it's a thread in the needle which we have to connect in a very scientific manner. Now how do we actually understand that which reference is the most important. Now, that is while we read the abstract and the introduction part of the literature of the research paper in the journal, then we'll see that some of the authors are getting cited more and more. Like, for example, in the area of employer branding, if uh, if uh, if somebody has done the research in that area, then somebody will find that Berthon et al. From Australia has got cited most of the time. So that actually summarizes my key reference one. Now from there I go to the uh, paper of the Berthon et al. And I see that what theoretical framework he has taken. Now from there we'll find Levens, then the Ambler and Barrow. So this is how the literature tree gets constructed, and uh, yes. And this logical flow actually helps to not get lost in the sea of the literature, right? So we'll move forward to another very interesting topic, that how do we actually connect the Bloom's taxonomy and literature review. Now as an academician, we have been always told to follow the Bloom's taxonomy while we teach in class. Now basically it is about the 6 levels, which we all know, that what level of the teaching or the learning are we actually targeting. Is it about the remembering, understanding, or applying the knowledge, analyzing, and finally evaluating and creating. Now this Bloom's taxonomy can be connected to the literature review in a sense that we should initially understand that actually why are we doing the literature review. That the process of literature review is not same for the research proposal or for a thesis or for a paper. Now that connect has to be made, that which level of literature review are we actually targeting. Now let me supplement my talks with an example. For example, if I'm working on the area of employer branding, which is a sub area of HR and OB, then if I have to quote Ambler and Barrow and Berthon et al., that in which year they had started the concept of employer branding, then uh, I find the year 1996. Okay, now that comes into the remembering part, right? So the next is the understanding that okay, how can the concept of employer branding be related to marketing, right? So we have moved to the next level in the Bloom's taxonomy. Now the interesting part is that most of the peer reviewed papers, they mostly require only a few lines of the literature review of the first two levels of the Bloom's taxonomy, that is remembering, understanding, applying. Now mostly they want that such literature should be there which connects the uh, previous few literatures, and some new concept or theory can be created in the form of a hypothesis. For example, a after after reading the literature review, if I find that okay, males in an IT organization are leaving the organization due to a huge pressure and low job satisfaction. Now there I'll have to analyze and think that okay, uh, I have found a hypothesis that gender plays a role in employee attrition, right? And further on, we can add the concepts of procedural justice and etc. Now the research papers also look for the inductive process of literature review or the deductive. Now how are they both actually different? Now inductive means that we have an specific observation, and uh, we're trying to generalize it in a broader manner. Like the example which I gave regarding the gender. Now if 5 to 6 papers have already proven the hypothesis that okay, men and uh, women, that is female, have a role in the attrition rate, and it differs gender wise, or for that example, area wise or education wise. Now then we are leading towards the inductive process of LR, right? And the deductive process is, we have a general thought process, and we need to uh, like uh, we need to be more specific, that from a broader vessel, what you're doing, you are deducing a hypothesis, and then you are moving towards a more specialized statement, right? So till now, is the background of the literature review okay with you all?
Yes, sir. It's perfectly all right.
Yeah. So I hope, as a researcher and academician, that you all must be understanding the importance of literature review, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So any of the points in the theoretical background, if you want to explain to you all again, then you can let me know. Okay.
Sir, you said
Yeah.
that remember in the for, having Bloom taxonomy in literature review,
Yeah,
the
Praveen.
papers required very less of remembering and understanding. That's the first two stage.
Yeah.
The first two stages, it's a remembering and understanding.
Yeah.
They do not require much. So that means we have to start with remembering and understanding, and we have to switch over to applying, analyzing, evaluation, and creation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have
See, yeah. Now, once more, let me clarify the fact. Now, for example, I am working in the area of behavioral finance and risk perception. Now, how will it look that if I have quoted 15 to 20 papers which have defined behavioral finance? That won't be logical, right? So, two or three introductory remembering and the understanding of the concept, that okay, who gave the concept, and from it, how it was connected to the perception of the investors, that part is okay. Now later on we have to move to the part which links the two constructs. For example, in this case, risk perception, then the stock market, and later on, as I said, that we can connect any demography to it, right?
okay, okay, sir.
So that was my part, that the reviewers, they don't expect a lot of references in the first two parts. So
All right. So if in case we are taking theory of reasoned action or theory of plant behavior as a base, so
yeah,
we should just tell the introduction of theory of plant behavior and reasoned action, and after
yeah,
that, we have to switch towards the
only the win.
construct.
Yeah. So in case there is a drift, or you can say a fight is a wrong word, like people have disagreed to the earlier constructs, then you can quote,
Okay.
because you see,
Okay.
that part basically comes in the third level of the Bloom's taxonomy, that is the analyzing, that you are actually analyzing, that okay, X has said this, Y has said this, and Z has got this data from this. So which one is correct? So as a researcher, you need to understand and analyze the situation, instead of just reiterating the fact that okay, behavioral finance, or for that matter, this was taken in this year, defined by this, then defined by this, defined by this. So the ratio of the literature review, it should be in a very proper manner, based on the scenario of the paper, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So there is one more doubt. For example, there is another theory of risk propensity, and there is a model by Grabel and Little. So we want to incorporate that model. So we should do it in the beginning only, or we should do it at the end.
No, see, if your findings is in a sync with the model which you are saying, then you can write it in the conclusion that okay, my findings are this, and this correlate and sync with this model. So that actually adds to the authenticity of your work, that okay, that my work has proved this theory.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And if it's a general statement, that can be done in the introduction or the literature review part. Okay.
Okay, sir. Fine.
So
Thank you so much.
yeah, I'll just move with the next part, that which are the latest trends in the literature review and how we can move accordingly. Okay. Yeah. Now the first one is that there is a system of trend analysis in Google. Now it shows that the topic on which you are working, and the demographic area, is it trending? Now, for example, as a student of HR, if I work on the job training or off the job training or a simple employee satisfaction, now do you think it is trending? Obviously it is not, right? So if I work on some latest topics like the employee attrition with the procedural justice, or employer branding, or HR analytics, now connecting the HR analytics with the recruitment scenario in an IT organization. Now this sounds like a recent topic, and has a greater chance of getting published, rather than topics which are not trending. So what we'll do, that we will go to the website of the Google Trend. I hope it is visible to you all. Just you have to type.
No, sir. Actually, the website is not visible, sir. Actually, you are sharing, I believe, a particular window. If you will share full screen,
Okay,
then it will.
just a second. Yeah, I hope it is visible now. Yeah. So,
Yes, sir. It is visible.
we just have to type Google Trend in the Google search box, and then we'll be redirected to this page. So I just want to confirm that is everybody in synchronization with me? Others can respond at times. Right. So for example, I type a keyword here.
Yes, sir, we are able to
Okay.
see it. And we are with you, sir. Connected well.
Thank you. Okay. So for example, I type here employer branding, which is a search topic in the area. Now we want to see the result worldwide, right? And okay, initially we need to enter the industry which we are looking for. So the IT industry, and then we compare it with the construct which we are looking for, right? Okay, so is this visible to you all? Now you see, when I have searched the term IT employer with the search term employer branding, now it shows a gradual rise in the search of the topics. Now the IT industry is in a boom, and people are looking for jobs, and the concept of employer branding was coined in the year 1996. When, just for an example sake, I'm saying. So we see how it has got risen in the latest years. Now it shows a trend, right? So this we can present in the research papers, saying that as a proof that our work is trending. So this we can download from the tab which we have here, share, or for example of the download option. Now what what we can do, that we can enter our own keywords, and uh, and uh, and we can set the geographical boundary which is on the left, that for example we can give the country of India, and we can change the category to a particular subject, and we can do a web search or image search or news search, that for example many of the topics which are recent in nature, there won't be much data uh, which will be available in the web search. News search will be more pertinent to it, right? So what we have to do, that we have to just toggle between the tabs which are there, and we have to find a perfect trend which actually exhibits the same from the literature. Now if the literature saying that okay, employer branding is a topic which has been bought by the IT industry and trending since its inception in 1996 till now. Now we have to portray it in this form, right?
So I have a question here.
Yeah.
So is this trend line based on the number of searches
Yes.
in
Yes.
the okay?
They are actually based on the web searches which are done, right? Which is actually not a very comprehensive sense of the only trend, but it actually shows that the topic is trending and hence being searched on the net, right? Web search. Like I said, that any topic which does not have a much of a web presence, that can be searched by the news search, right?
So both had Google Scholar and the usual Google search engine.
Yeah, I didn't get you. Please come again.
So this is a comprehensive trend line for the searches made in Google Scholar or in the normal usual Google search engine.
Only in the Google, not the Google Scholar. Now, Google Scholar is a subsidiary or subset of Google, right? Now, here we are seeing the tab of web search. That means that the
So, Dr. Pandya, I would like to step in between.
yeah.
See, when Google has many products, one of them being the Google Scholar for electronic thesis and dissertations, research papers. Then they have one another product, Trends. That's why it's showing trends.google.com, where you can search for the current searched articles that have been recently, the keywords that have been used for searches, and it will show you the trend that which of the terms are being used. It has nothing to do with the scholar or anything. It will tell you only the recent searches around the word that's happening around a particular keyword.
Yeah.
Right?
Keyword search. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. So we'll continue with our this process. So Google Trend, like I said, it actually helps us to understand that which of the areas are trending based on the keyword search, right? Now the next model which we are going to discuss is the Prisma model, which actually proves that our
Sorry to disturb, sir. Only one
yeah.
query. That
Yeah.
when we will give the reference of this, so what should we write? Source Google Trend, that will do.
Google Trend, yeah.
Okay.
Google Trend, and but one thing is very important. You have to mention the date and the time of the search, because you see this Google Trend is dynamic in nature, and the graph may vary to a search query which is done maybe next month, or the time at which it is being reviewed by the reviewer.
Even it may change within a matter of few
Yeah,
hours, because
yeah, true.
suppose you have searched something recently, and what happened that some big news has happened around the world. People will start searching about that, and then what you have searched will go somewhere down
down the line.
in the downside of the hierarchy, right? So
Right.
it's better to
Right.
mention the date and time of the search also.
Authenticity
Okay.
is
Okay.
the date and time of the search,
Okay,
right?
sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the next the model which we'll be discussing is Prisma model, and like I said, it gives the tag of the comprehensiveness of the search, which Google Scholar doesn't give, right? That is the limitation of the Google Scholar, that the search is not comprehensive. It has been listed in the order of the most being searched. So the top 10 searches in the area of employer branding will just get cited in the Google Scholar. But this Prisma model, it helps us to understand that from the various databases, which we'll see by doing hands-on, that we have actually gone through all the databases and picked up the recent and relevant searches, right? So I'll just share the, yeah. So is the search syntax visible to you all?
No, sir. We cannot see.
Okay. Okay. Actually, I need to switch the tab every time. Yeah. This. Now, what we are seeing in this, now is it visible to everybody?
Yes, sir. No.
Yeah. So like we see that on the first column we have the various databases like the Web of Science, Science Direct, Emerald, Insight, and we'll also see the search on the Sage database. And this search syntax is basically the title search, that is a search of the topic which we are doing and correlating it with a particular industry or with a different construct. Now the words which have been used in the middle, now these are basically the operators like and, or not. Now there are basically three operators, and, or not. Now the function of each three I'll be discussing. The first one is and. Now which actually helps us to reduce our literature search by actually combining both the fields which we have entered. Like in this case, when I search these two topics, the employer branding and information technology, it will only fetch me the results which includes both these topics. Now, now the next one is or. Now that actually diversifies the search. Had I given employer branding or IT, now it would have fetched me results from both the different searches. And the last one is not. Basically, when there are two constructs which are quite related, like employee attrition and employees leaving the organization. So you might be very particular to search the word employee attrition. Like you might not be interested in the words which are related to it, or you can say which are synonymous. So in that case, you will use attrition, not leaving the organization. So I hope these three operators are clear to everybody. Now what we'll do, that we'll move to the databases, and one by one we will proceed with the search. Now we'll just have a look of this, the Prisma model, so that it is easy for us to understand. Now here we see the three databases: Web of Science, Science Direct, Emerald. Now we can even include Sage. Now with the help of the keywords which was there, what we have done, that we have received these many number of responses. That is the manuscript or the published research papers which are there. Now some of the papers may be common, so the non-duplicate ones have been screened in Mendeley, and after that the process is somewhat manual. As a researcher, it is your prejudice to understand that okay, which paper, which abstract, which title is important for me. So I'll get back to this. uh, Till then we can uh, join the search results. right? So let me get back to my browser. Okay, so I hope this home page of Science Direct is visible to you all. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so Science Direct is from Elsevier, and we are seeing that we have some options of keywords, author name, journal, volume, issue. Now, if we don't have to search anything very specific like the author name or the journal when we are looking for any specific paper, so what we do that generally we go for the keyword of employer branding, the papers of which I want to study in my literature review. Now, there is a tab which says advanced search. We need to go to that, right? Now you see, I want research papers which have the name employer branding. Why is it so? You see, because if I give the topic of employer branding in the first row, then it will fetch me results of the researchers which have the word employer branding in it, even in the methodology section, even in the literature review section. So that I don't want. If somebody has done research on employee satisfaction, and and in the literature review he has linked that employer branding can be correlated with employee satisfaction, so I don't want that type of literature review. I want a specific search by which the title of the journal should have the word employer branding, right? So what we do, we click on the search. So one by one, we'll see. So see, on the left hand side, we are seeing that we have got 56 results, right? And year wise, we can refine it. Like in the year 2020 there were 7 publications, then 6 in the year 2019, then article types we are seeing the review article is 1, research article is 51. Now, like in the starting of the session, I had said that we should start our literature review by reading the most recent review paper. Then we have found one review article in Science Direct which can be downloaded and we can start reading from it. Now, this is just an example. Now, in case of a finance search, if we go for the search of behavioral finance and risk perception, then we can add the keywords over here, right? And depending upon the number of results. Now, for example, if you have got 250 results, then obviously you can't go through all the 250 papers. You need to specify further that okay, I need to study the papers only from India, only the papers which are related to the risk perception and behavioral finance, not the general terms, right? Now, next, what we'll do, we will go to the database of Emerald. Now, is the home page visible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here also, initially, let me type the word employer branding. Now, when we type a huge topic, then we'll find there are so many searches. Now, again, we go to the advanced search. Now, that is the beauty of the search which is being made. Now, you see, here I am. Here I have to type the word employer branding, right? And we have to add a row. Now, here we are seeing that operator which was there. Now, for example, I want to know the researches which have been done in the area of employer branding, but in the IT industry. For example, I want to add a demographic or a country limited result like India. Or, for example, if somebody is doing a research work on the Asian market, now what he can do that he can write the keyword Asia. So the research papers which have the keyword Asia, those results will be fetched. Right now we don't want the year. Now the year is generally done when we want to study the recent topics, and most of the topics when they are orthodox in nature, like we have the learning and development, and the consumer behavior in marketing, or even in finance, we have like predicting the stock market. Now predicting the stock market is a huge area, and much research has been done on it. So in that case, what we can do, that we can here write that the papers only from year 2015 to 2020, right? um, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So one more tab is there, that for the SS type. Now some of the papers are open SS, and some of the papers have a limited SS, which the viewer can download only if he has an institutional SS. Now, this is also a criteria of the selection. That, for example, if any organization doesn't have a institutional SS, now what will you do by taking 30 to 40 papers which are not accessible to you? Okay, what you can do is you can download it from any different websites like Sci-Hub and all. But the authenticity is that you can take the research papers which are of open access. Okay, so let me go to the search results. Now here you see I'm finding again 661 results. So I might like try to reduce it, because by reading on the research papers, what we are seeing that it has taken a huge results. So right, so what we can do is we can refine the search year wise, right? 2015 to 2020. Now all this literature work, you all must be seen, depends on the uh, topic which you have taken. Is it very huge in nature? Is it very like common in nature, or is it very new, latest? So that search can vary accordingly. There is no fixed number of searches which you have to do. So basically it is a hit and trial process by which actually you get the exact number of the searches which you want, which is actually readable by you. Now obviously you can't read 150 papers, right? So you need to understand and fetch the most recent ones and which are relevant to your topic. Now in this case, for example, we have got 19. So what we can do as a researcher, that we can go through them one by one, and just by reading the topic and the abstract, we can understand that okay, this paper is not related to my work, this one is related. So one by one we can download it and keep it in our um, this folder for our future analysis in the Nvivo, right? So I hope this Emerald database is clear. So once again, I'll discuss that there are no fixed operators to be used. There are no fixed year wise. So it just depends on the depth of your research, the area which you have chosen, right, and the relevant articles which you require, right? Now the same thing we can go on Sage. I hope that all of you are practicing this with me.
Yes, sir, we are doing, sir.
Okay, that's very great to hear. What about others?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. We are
sir.
trying.
You only.
Okay. Now, this is not something tough. Even if you have understood the concept, this is just toggling in and trying to understand and get the relevant search. Right now, same thing we can do in the Sage database, which is again a very reputed database, right? Now you see we have found around 50,000 results for that, right? So we don't want such high number of the searches. So what we do, we refine the search, right? Regarding the industry in which we want the result, or like I said, any demographic area that, okay, since I'm studying uh, the somebody's doctoral thesis can be related to the uh, marketing process or the finance investment in the North India. So one can actually search for North India. So it's not wrong, right? So we can go for this, and you can find some refined search in that area, right? Again, we have a very huge result, so we can further curtail it. That initially we can go by the review articles which are there, right? So this is the case. So I hope this database search was a bit helpful to you all. Any queries in this?
So it is clear, but this is the Prisma model.
No, this is the first part of the Prisma model. That is,
Okay, sir.
let me again share the screen. I just wanted to ask the other participants that was the process clear to them? Did they actually understand how to go to the databases and fetch the results?
Yes, sir. The advanced search is clear.
Okay. Anybody else? Any issues which are there? Now, what you have to do, you just have to log in with your normal mail ID. Then you will receive a link in your mail ID, and from which you can search the. And if you have a institutional ID, now that will help you even more, because in that way you will have a more defined search or a more accessible results, right? You will be able to fetch more research papers, right? Any other issues, or should I move next? Some of the respondents may reply. Okay, I have received a few.
We can move ahead, sir.
Okay, even I have received messages from a few of the respondents that it is okay. So I hope the process. Now we'll discuss the further process of the Prisma model. Yeah. So I hope the Prisma model is visible to you all.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So once again, I'll have a quick recap of what we have done. Now we have searched our construct or the words we want to search in each of the databases, whichever are available to us, like Sage, Emerald, Science Direct, Web of Science. Any of the databases can be searched. And later on, when these papers have been downloaded, now they can be kept in Mendeley. Okay, how many of you have used or even heard of Mendeley desktop? Can I get a quick consensus among you all? Mendeley, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I'm
Heard, sir.
using Mendeley.
Okay, so 4 or 5 responses I have got on the spot that okay, people are using Mendeley. Now, for the ones who are not very familiar with it, now let me just show a glimpse of the of Mendeley. Yeah. So I hope the home page or the basic page of Mendeley is available to you all. Now you see the papers which you have downloaded from the databases. So you always need not download it. What you can do is you can connect it with Mendeley, and those papers will directly come to it, right? So you can see that if we click on a paper, then we are seeing that all the abstract, the references, and the topics are being portrayed. Now this is, yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, can you repeat, please? Because there is some network connection at my place, so I've just missed the part.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
is it possible to repeat, sir?
Mendeley
This
part.
Mendeley
So
part.
I was
this
just
Mendeley part.
saying that the Mendeley desktop is you can say a reference manager, a dashboard which actually helps you to track that which papers have you downloaded, and what was the year of the publication, the authors, the references, and the abstract. Now, like we had gone through the 3 or 4 databases. Now, some papers can be common in those 4 databases. Now, if you connect Mendeley to those 3 or 4 databases which you have searched, now Mendeley will remove the duplicate citations. That is the papers which are common, like any paper.
So we have to create a we have to create a login in the
Yeah,
Mendeley for doing this.
Mendeley can be downloaded in your desktop in just a few minutes. The search word is Mendeley desktop, right? So this home page which you are seeing, this is the home page in which all the papers get listed, and from this you can know that okay, this paper I have read, this is from the year, and you can even like arrange it year wise. Like in this case, we are seeing that top 2 papers are from the year 2015-14. So this is just, you can say, a reference manager, a one stop for your literature or the management thing of your papers. Now, what is the other option that
Sir,
you
can you
keep
kindly,
those?
sir, can you kindly add one paper? Can you please kindly add one paper, sir?
Yeah.
Can you
So
please, so
yeah,
that we can learn that thing, sir.
yeah. So on the left hand side,
Dr. Pandya, Dr. Pandya, sorry to step
yeah.
in between. Uh, I have asked in the question also, I don't know, I am unable to identify who has joined with the name SMS Punjabi University.
Okay. Kindly respond.
Because in Google Meet, you are expected to join with your own name, what you have registered with us.
Kindly respond.
So may I please know who has joined as SMS Punjabi University? Please respond, else I'll be removing you from this meeting because I am unable to identify. Okay, Dr. Pandya, you continue.
Okay. So we were at the point and we were using the Mendeley, so we'll be back to it. So on the left hand side, what we are seeing that there is an option of add, right? So what we can do is we can click on it, and then we can add certain research papers which we have downloaded, right? For example, a certain review papers. Now I have selected 3 papers, right? So I have opened it. So you see how the 3 research papers have been imported from the database or from the folder to this. Now, how this Mendeley software is useful for the visualization process, that the previous orthodox version of this work is to keep the research papers in a folder. Now, just by keeping it in a folder in your desktop, you won't be able to sort it by year, and the publication wise, title wise, author wise. So you see that this actually provides a very nice view of the dashboard, kind of view, that okay, this paper, kindly mute yourself. There is some background which it is coming. Yeah. So what I was saying that that this Mendeley desktop, it provides a framework, or you can say a comprehensive view of the research papers, right? Now we can also click on the tabs like favorites, like which of the research papers are the ones that 4 or 5, like we say in the process of literature review, that these 5 are our model papers, like closest to our work. So that we can click on the tab favorites. Okay, so more and more toggling in it will enable. Now let me come back to the Prisma model and discuss it, that how it needs to be done, because this diagram of Prisma model is used very much in the good research papers and peer reviewed, because like I said, this proves the comprehensiveness of the research. So I hope the Prisma model is visible to everybody. Kindly respond.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah. So the first step we have done, that we have fetched the research papers from the databases. Then by Mendeley we have screened it, and finally, that, like in my case, I have found 120 research papers. Now it can differ from topic to topic, subject to subject, area to area, like I had said. Now you may even find 90 papers, 100 papers, 80, 70, depending upon the search which you have done. Now for example, if you have done a very recent search of the years 18, 19 and 20, then the number of papers will be less in number comparatively. Okay, so the next step which we see here is the inclusion exclusion criteria, right? And what is it? Articles excluded after title or abstract screening, right? Now let me give an example of this. Now, in spite of giving the title search in the databases of employer branding, there might be some uh, research papers which had the term employer branding in its name, but uh, as a researcher, when I have read the abstract, then I found that okay, no, this paper is not related to my work, right? For example, I want to study the antecedents of employer branding, that which are the factors which actually uh, an employer should have to be called a good employer brand. And these research papers, the ones which I have excluded, they are actually talking of employer branding in a different context, right? Now, they had the title name employer branding in them, but the direction of the micro research which I'm looking for, these are not the same. Now is this point very clear to you all, or if required, I can explain it again? Any responses?
So this point is clear, but only one doubt I have. For
Yeah.
example, as you have mentioned that we have 57 from Web of Science, we got
Yeah.
that many papers, Science Direct and so on.
Yeah.
But Mendeley, we can upload only those papers whom we are able to download.
Yeah.
So we have to download all these papers, and if in case it is not, means we are not able to download because not all paper are open access. So in that case, we won't be able to find that whether it is duplicate or not. So we have to cross tally the name and the articles name and the papers from different Web of Science, Science Direct, and Emerald. Means we have to apply some method if in case Mendeley doesn't work for us.
No, yeah. So see, there are two answers to this. One is the one which you have already mentioned, the manual cross-checking. But the second part, if any research paper has the similar name, in Science Direct and in Emerald. Now Mendeley will automatically fetch it and will keep the single copy of it, right? That is
Okay,
the
sir.
beauty of the software. And regarding the papers which of which the SS is not visible or present to you all, what I'll suggest that it can be downloaded from Sci-Hub, or you can request any of your colleagues who are in any in IITs or IIMs or like NITs, and who actually have the database to download it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Even
So can this
we
be a
do that. Yeah.
okay, sir? So can there be a way that we save it in the web form and then we export it into Mendeley from the Mendeley web, and then we can cross check, because in that case we can definitely add the paper in the in the Mendeley desktop.
Yeah. So that is what uh, I said, that these three databases, the papers which are of OpenSS, they can be directly connected to Mendeley. But there is a tab on these databases that you can download it to the Mendeley. You can use Mendeley or EndNote for the same purpose,
Okay, sir.
right? Okay. Now
Okay, sir. Okay,
this
thank you.
Sir, can I intervene, sir?
yeah, sure,
Sir,
sure.
like you told, the beauty of the Mendeley is that the paper of the same title will be replaced by one only and the other will be removed. So the title has to be exactly same, or like for example, antecedents of employer branding, and
No,
somebody
no,
else
no.
has written
That
factors.
has to be exactly same, because
Oh,
you see,
okay. No, but exactly same. Why? Okay.
no,
No, exactly same papers. How will they be published with the same wordings?
no, no. They won't be published by the different names, by the same name. They will be present. They can be present in different databases.
Okay,
That is
okay,
what I
okay.
said.
Like that. Okay, okay, sir. I
Yeah.
got it.
And Mendeley, what it does, it does a search text, the text search, and it includes it, right?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So the first criteria, as I told, of the inclusion and the exclusion, was of the reading the abstract and the title and trying to correlate it with uh, your own construct and the study. Now, second step, the criteria of removing the papers. Now, many a times when we search the literature, then we see that there are certain dissertations of some university which are actually not very authentic. Uh, there are some papers which are not in the English language, right? For example, they are in French or they are in German, so that might not be of much help to you all. So those papers can again be removed, right? And certain such criteria can be developed by the researcher. Like one more example, like I gave, that if I want to study the antecedents of the employer branding only in the IT industry, so if any paper has come with the sector of manufacturing, so I may, after reading the antecedents, that okay, these are the antecedents in the manufacturing industry, but they don't seem very logical to me. So what I'll do, I'll remove it, because it is from the manufacturing background, right? So finally, those data sets, the research papers which are of total relevance to you all, they can be included, and later on this chart can be drawn and presented in the review paper. This actually shows and presents that okay, you have done a very comprehensive literature work, and uh, and also you have excluded the papers which you have found not relevant, right? Right.
Right, sir. Sir, I have one doubt. As
Yeah.
you have told, I have just raised that. I found one paper which was in Spanish and the
Yeah.
abstract was in English. So abstract was quite interesting. So what
Hmm.
I used Google Translator to translate the paper, and I was
Translator, yeah,
found
that you can
so
do.
can we cite these papers, because the paper is actually not available in English, it is all in Spanish, but abstract was
Spanish.
available in English. So can we
Yeah.
cite this paper which is not in English language but in other language?
You can cite.
You can cite it.
You can cite, because you see the in text citation which you will be making in the your manuscript. Like for example, you will write that the risk perception of the Spanish population is of this. So it proves that actually you have gone through the paper by translating it, or by reading it anyhow, and you have included it in your text.
Okay, sir.
What
Okay,
you
sir.
actually cannot do, that you just cite the paper and there is no in-text reference for that. People generally do that to increase the number of the references, which is actually quite a wrong practice to do, right?
Right, sir. Right.
Okay, so
Thank you.
I hope the Prisma model is clear to you all. This can be used now. One thing is very important, that along with this Prisma model, we also need to provide the search syntax on the databases, and the reference which it is generally used is of Tranfield et al. Right? And one line can be added, that since the databases are dynamic in nature, the search results can change, and mentioning the date of the search. So that will prove that the search was very authentic, right? Okay, so next we'll
Sir, you have said Tanfin et al. So that was not clear. Tanfin et al. Where we can use, sir?
for the reference of the Prisma model.
Okay, sir.
Referencing of the Prisma model. That first you have to write that, okay, I had fetched the data from these databases on this date, and according to the instructions by Tranfield et al. 2003 or 7, I'll have to cross check, and then you can mention it, right?
Dr. Pandya. Dr. Pandya.
Sir,
Yeah.
can I ask you one question? Yeah, here you can also, is there any possibility of also using EBSCO or ProQuest?
Yeah.
Having the 3 different search, right?
Like I said, the databases can be of your relevance and your choice, but the papers should not be repeated and won't be repeated. Like EBSCO is a database which is comparatively, you can say, lighter or less relevant than these databases. So just I have taken these databases, can be taken.
EBSCO has become a very common database. What I feel.
Yeah. That is the reason I said. Yeah.
So better go for web of science,
Yeah.
and all these things.
Emerald and Sage, these are more.
See, what I have observed, that every Tom, Dick, Harry journal is now in EBSCO or ProQuest.
Yeah, true.
So Dr. Pandya, can you please put your slide in presentation mode so that we can
Yeah.
see?
Actually, the next step was to go on the hands-on Nvivo. So I had actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, so I hope everybody has installed the Nvivo. Once again, I am asking. So I'll just go to the screen sharing mode, and if anybody has any issues regarding the Nvivo, so I'll just show the screen to you all, the basic screen. I hope this is the screen which everybody has got. The home screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Others, I just wanted to cross-check that are you all with me on this?
So before we start, one question: the first paper which you sent, there we
Yeah.
have you have mentioned that the database is Scopus.
Yeah.
So do we go to Scopus database only, and we can search in the same way, the advanced search we have done in all these 3?
See, doing the search only from a single database, you may actually receive a query or a clarification from the reviewer that, okay, why you have gone for a single database.
Okay. Okay,
Since you
sir.
have the option of 2 or 3 good databases also, then why not have a more comprehensive view of the all. There
Okay,
are
sir.
papers I have seen that who have only gone through the Scopus database, because Scopus in itself is quite comprehensive. That I agree. But since you have the option of getting through all the 2 or 3 reputed databases, so that actually adds to the authenticity. That, okay, this guy has even gone to Web of Science, Sage, Emerald. So like trying to understand that it shows a more comprehensive approach to your literature. That is it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just proceed with the Nvivo, and I'll be very slow so that you all can be with me. And if there are any queries or issues, then you can let me know. Right? Okay. So on the top hand side, left hand side, what we are seeing that there is a tab of new project. Right? So we'll just click on it, and the project title. Now it may be related to any of your recent work which are doing. Like I said that if somebody is working in the area of marketing, like consumer behavior or of finance, behavioral finance, stock market, then you can just write your name accordingly. Employer branding, like I have written in my case. Okay, employer branding in Asia. Papers related to EB in Asian background. So okay. Now what we have to do, we have to just click next. Now here we
Sir, your screen is paused in the first. Means we can only see that recent project. We cannot see what you have typed.
okay. Now let me go back. Now is it visible?
So the screen is visible. We can see Nvivo, but after you have added new project, the screen is visible, but that we cannot see that the name that you have given and the next you have clicked.
Okay. Let me do it again. Might be there was some error in that. Okay. Right. So now do you all see a page tab which shows project title?
So screen is not visible to us itself.
Okay. Let me again share the screen from the starting.
Sir, kindly start from
Okay. Now the dashboard of the Nvivo has come. Is it visible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now if I click on new project, there is a tab which comes up. Is it visible? Is it visible?
No, sir. Can you go a little ahead, then we can catch it. Right now, the same screen. The home page is visible.
Okay, just a second. I think there is some issue regarding the tab, because it keeps changing. Now, is it visible again?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Since the tab actually creates a new mini window, that is the reason that it is not visible.
So if in case you share your whole screen, it will be visible, I believe. Since you are sharing a window, it is not visible.
Okay. I'm actually sharing my whole screen.
Oh, okay. Sir.
Now is it visible?
Sir, yes, sir, it is visible now.
Yeah.
But click on new project, then we can see.
Now?
Yes, sir, now tab is visible.
Good. Okay, so like I was saying that the topic of the title of the project can be related to the area in which you are working. For example, I have typed employer branding in Asia because I want to study uh, this construct in the Asian context, right? So literature review for EB, short form I have given, and then I'll go for next. Have you all typed it?
Yes, sir.
There is a background noise which is coming from somebody of yours background. Kindly mute that and try to not have the noise because it is bit disturbing for the others. There is some noise. Okay, so we'll go for next.
Excuse me, sir. The
Yeah.
file name that I have created is for the folder name where we are having the PDF of the research papers.
No. From that we just have to import the data. This name
No,
is just related to your area of the research which you are doing.
done, sir. No, sir, done, sir. This file name, C user Lenovo document, is this folder that contains the PDF
No.
of research?
No.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. This is the folder which will get created now.
Okay, sir. Perfect.
And we'll have the log file and the reminders, right?
Perfect, sir. Perfect.
Yeah. So what we do, we go for next. Now it asks for a save reminder of every 15 minutes. Now we don't require that. Okay, so we'll go for no. Okay, and the path is already specified. So we'll go for create project. So I hope everybody is with me on this.
Yes, sir.
At times it may get a bit slow and the process might work on the background. So we need to be a bit patient. Nothing to worry about in this. Okay. Depending upon the now this is the homepage which we have got. Others have this tab which has the file.
Yes, sir.
File classification,
Yes, sir.
codes. Good. Okay. Now this is the homepage of the dashboard of Nvivo. Okay. So what we'll do that we will initially we will import the papers, the 15 research papers which was sent to you all, and then we'll do some operations and have some visualization output out of it. Right? Okay. So we have to go to import, right? Then the third tab is files. Import the files. Now you see, I have saved.
Sir, you are muted, I believe.
Now is it okay?
Yes, sir. Now we can see.
Yeah. So I'll get back to the Nvivo. Yeah. So have you all imported the files from the desktop?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about others? Others have gone to import and then files and then browse the file to your dashboard.
Yes, done, sir.
Good. Okay. Right. So you see, these are the 15 research papers or files which you can say, which we have just kept for the sake of it testing. Like in your case, there can be the research papers of your interested area. The number can vary from more to less, right? But the process will be the same of what we are discussing, right? So what we do, we select these papers, right? And then we go to explore. I hope the participants of this workshop are with me on this. Is there any problem being faced?
So we select the paper and then we go to explore. Okay.
Explore, yeah, because we want to explore the word frequency, then the word cloud, right? I'm getting
Okay.
a very limited response from the others. Are the other participants with me on this? Okay, I've got a few of the text messages responses, which actually makes me happy. Okay, good, good. Okay, so we'll go back to this and we click on the tab explore and we go for word frequency, right? And you see that there is a screen which shows the search, then the display words and minimum word limit, then the grouping, right? Now, has everybody reached this page in the dashboard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so one by one we will discuss the description of the tab. Now, first you see that the display words.
So there is disturbance.
Yeah, I just request the others to mute. I think Dr. Vishal. Dr. Vishal. Just a second. Yeah, hello, I'm back. There was some disturbance. So what I'll do, I'll just repeat the steps. Okay. Some of you are left behind in this.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so after uploading the papers, right, we have to go to explore and click on the word frequency. So this step has everybody done? Anybody who is left out?
Yes, sir. We have reached here.
Okay, okay. So I'll move forward. So okay, one by one we'll just discuss in a very just manner that what do these tabs mean. Okay, the first one says that the display words, that how many the frequency of the words do you actually want to map. So let us keep it to 100, because actually we don't want to see too many words in our word cloud or the tree map and to get confused, because you see the constructs are quite limited. The topics which we want to search in our literature are quite limited, right? And the minimum length of the word can be kept to 4, because we don't want words like the, and, because these are also considered the words by the software, right? So we can set the minimum length to 4. Now coming to the right hand side, we are seeing a description of named as grouping. Now what does it mean? That, for example, in our construct, which is employer branding, now if we want to get the exact search of employer branding, then we need to keep the tab here of exact match. Now next is the stemmed words, like in my case, employer branding of the employer. Now these are related words, right? Now then the synonym, like there can be any synonym of employer which is saved in the text, and it will also fetch it, like organizational branding. Now we all can understand that organizational branding and employer branding are not the same. Now for example, in case of a marketing search, now if I do consumer behavior and customer behavior, now seemingly for a layman these both are the same, but from the point of view of a literature and a management search angle, both are not the same. Do you all agree?
Yes,
So
sir. Consumer and
yeah,
customers are
right.
different.
So what we'll do, we'll go for the exact match, because we don't want any tallying or related words, right? So what we do, that on the right hand side we have the run query. Is it visible to everybody? So we
Yes, sir.
click on it. Now the first thing which pops up is summary. Now summary of all the text scanning it has done from the research papers, and we see that the employer word with a character length of 8 has appeared 118 times, and its weighted average is 1.56, which is the highest. Then the next is branding, employees. Now what it actually shows, it shows that that the construct employer branding is being studied here, and most of the words they are related to it, and so the word employer has occurred the most, right? Like in case of a marketing search, the from the research papers, consumer will appear at the top if the papers are actually talking about consumer, and if they are not talking about the consumer, and the top 5 searches don't show it, that means there is some problem in the uh, research papers which the respondent has picked, right? So you must see that your direction of the literature review is correct, in the sense that these words must be familiar to you all, right? So next we will go to the word cloud. On the extreme right there are 4 tabs we can see: summary, word cloud, tree map, and cluster analysis. So we just click on word cloud, and we have to wait for some few minutes till it fetches it. Okay, till here any queries from any of the participants?
Sir, it is possible that some of the word which is not of importance but have been included. For example, we have given 4 word and 4 length, and there is some word which is not important but has been included. So is there any option to remove particular word from word clouds?
No, see, once the word clouds comes, then I'll show you. Actually, it depends on the prejudice of the researcher. Now, for example, there is a word HERE here, right? And as a researcher, you know that that this word is not my construct, or not even near to my construct. So why will you consider it, right?
Yes, sir.
So that is the sense.
Dr. Pandya,
Yeah.
somebody had mentioned that the screen is not visible.
Okay.
Sir, screen is visible actually, sir. Word cloud is not there, so people
It
might
is
be
being
thinking that because it will
formed.
take time. Yes,
It's
generated.
being formed,
Yes.
it will take time.
So we just wait for a few more seconds, and if the screen is still not visible, then I'll perform it again.
So, sir, why are we like doing this? Like, what is exactly this word cloud and things are telling to us? Like,
Yeah,
that's
I'll
my concern.
I will explain you. See, the the basic idea of this word cloud tree map and the cluster analysis is to scan the words and find the related topics to the construct, central construct. Like in this case, the central construct is employer branding. So what other relational or related areas have been worked upon in the previous researches, and it also gives us cue that as to what new areas we can take up in the further. I hope I was able to theoretically explain you.
Yes, yes,
Now
sir.
I
So,
will
like, basically, can
now
we
I will
show this
explain you with the help
diagram in
of.
our manuscript, or is it just for us to refer and to work on it?
No, see, once you have developed the word cloud, now from here your rational and the prejudice will start, right?
Okay.
For example, okay, so now is the word cloud visible to you all, everybody?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, so now we will discuss that what it actually means. So you see the words in the middle, which are marked by some reddish. Now these are the words which have appeared in the manuscript in the most frequent manner, right? The most appear words. Now by reading these, I can understand that okay, these are the central constructs. That is employees, brand, employer, branding, and company, which is the organization, right? Now you see, since this is the central construct, and the next layer of the words which are marked in bold and surround the central construct, like for example, marketing, study, management, applicants, potential, attractiveness, factor, value. These are the you can say related areas on which others have worked. Are you actually trying to understand the first layer, second layer, third layer, and fourth layer? Now this word cloud or the tree map, which actually helps you to understand the literature gap and develop a related attribute to your work. Now once again, let me explain this with the help of this, right? Now here we see that employer brand is a central construct. Now people have worked with the related concept of the potential employers. Now potential employee, recruitment, these are the terms which have been correlated by the previous researchers, right? So what you can do, you can click on recruitment. Okay, that will be in the tree map. Okay, so here you actually you just have to gauge and understand that which two relational attributes you can actually understand. Now for example, on the extreme left hand side we are seeing psychology. So has the central construct employer branding been connected enough with psychology? That is what you are trying to study as a literature gap. Now psychology is the third layer of the words. If you see, if you go by the font size and the color wise, then you see that words like psychology, information, importance, performance, right? they uh, they actually form the third layer of words. That means that these related components have been worked upon comparatively less compared to recruitment, applicants, potential factors. Now, what does it mean? You see from the other side that researchers have worked more on the factors of employer branding, image of employer branding. They have also connected it to the marketing aspect of employer branding with EB. They have studied the potential applicants to it. Now, what they have studied less, that we can see in the third layer of the words, the text. Is the explanation making sense?
Yes, sir. So it highly depends on what paper we have imported, right? If I have imported 100 papers, based on those 100 papers, I am telling this gap, right?
Exactly. So that is the reason that your research papers must be quite relevant and authentic.
Yes, sir. So the first step has to be correct, then only this is correct.
Exactly. Like in this case, since I have done some research work on employer branding, so I myself can like you can say authenticate and cross check that, okay, yeah, I have seen most of the research papers which have connected the themes like recruitment or marketing or factors with employer branding, but there are very few research papers which have connected psychology, dimensions, culture, then applicant with the central construct of employer branding. So you see, that is how we find that, okay, that these are the words or the related themes which have been uh, worked upon less. You all must be remembering that in the initial slide I had discussed that all of us go from a macro area of a research to micro area of a research, right? So here the macro area is the employer branding, and micro area we need to pick it up from this. Now, for example, as a researcher, I can pick up a topic that on the extreme right and the down part, we see a word culture. Do you all see it?
Yes, sir, we can see culture.
Culture, right? Right there near my culture, near my cursor. So you see, I can relate, means I can think of correlating or relating the concept of culture with employer branding. That does organizational culture has a role in employer branding, or otherwise that does employer branding has a role in improving the culture of the organization, or alternatively, if you see that on the top hand side, we have the word performance. Is it visible? Where my
Yes, sir. Yes.
performance. So you see that it is quite evident that very few researchers have worked on the area of performance with EB. So why can't I further work on it? Right? I hope the ma'am who was asking me the question of its relevance, now it is a bit more clearer to you.
Yes, sir. It is very clear, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm having one doubt. Can I ask the question?
Yeah, sure.
Sir, as if we can see the word chart, there are some words as if 2001, 2002, or 2004, 2003.
Yeah.
Is there any way to remove them?
So see, removing them, the question comes when you have to use it. Now, these are the years in which the researches on employer branding have been done maximum.
Okay.
So this is this is also a good information for a researcher that, okay, from 2001 to 2004 or 5 maximum research has been done on it, since the topic has come up from the year 1996.
So basically, these numbers are not outliers.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
Okay,
not.
Dr. Hitesh is assuming that they might be outliers. They are not outliers. They are better indicators that maximum researches pertaining to those areas have been done during these years. So you can refer to the literature of those years, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so what we can do is we can right click on it and export the word cloud. Right? We can save it by the name word cloud EB. Right? And in the section of the literature review and when we discuss about the literature gap, we can put this diagram, right? And we can explain further that why we have chosen employee performance to be correlated with employer branding, right? I hope it is clear to everybody.
Yes, sir.
So we can save this by the name word cloud EB or whatever name. So it gets saved. So this you can put it exactly in the research paper, and you can write a few lines about it. See, if you have understood it, and it won't be a great problem to write a few lines about it, right?
Sure, sir. So citation will be again, we have to write something about the citation, or we say that it is author own work and we have found this.
Yeah, no, but that you can write from the author's own work, because the papers which you have taken that you will cite at the end of your research work, right?
Right, sir. Right.
So
Okay.
Making
for
this
example,
word cloud is your own activity, na? So you can
yeah, exactly,
write. Normally, we write the source as developed by the researcher.
developed by the researcher.
Developed by the researcher. Okay, sir.
And in case you get a question or the clarification from the reviewer, that sometimes they ask that, okay, what were the sources of this word cloud, which were the research papers, so that you can mention in the clarification sheet of your research paper, right?
References would serve the purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so
So, is it necessary that only those references which we have used should be there in the reference of the paper, or we can have more references also?
No, see,
Now I would like to answer to this question.
Yeah.
This is a very common question. Actually, common question comes as, sir, what is difference between bibliography and references?
Yeah.
So the answer lies in this
in-text
only.
citation. Yeah.
So if you have done some in-text citation, I hope you are aware of this term in-text citation. Suppose writing something, let's say one statement, and in brackets writing the name of the author and year of the author. And you have cited those in-text citation in the end note or at the end.
Yeah.
It's called references. Apart from references, if you have studied any other thing related to subject matter but have not given the in-text citation, and you are putting its citation or putting its details in your references, it becomes a bibliography. So basically, yes, please.
Yes, sir, I understand that.
So basically, if you want to generate a bibliography, you can include all those things which you have studied. But it's a must that whatever has been cited in text has to be in the references.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
What my question was, sir, for example, we have gone through the study of these 2025 papers. But when we are in our paper, we have used some more researches also. So we should use that also in the references. Our reference list should not be restrained with these 2025 papers with the help of which we have created this word cloud.
That's what I'm saying. You can do so. And then you can put all those, because suppose if you are writing, see, word cloud is just an output of the whatever the collections you have done, and then you have made keywords, right?
Right, sir.
Okay, this is the word cloud. So throughout your paper, you will be citing some more text, okay, some more authors apart from this word cloud. Those you can keep in references.
Right, sir,
if you are not citing them in text,
right,
and again then you want to give their references, just simply change your heading to bibliographical indexes or bibliography, and it will serve your purpose. You can cite.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. So we do not have to mention anywhere that these are the 50 papers with the help of which we have created word cloud. Let me put my question in this way.
If you, no,
So we
if,
do not have to mention.
no,
No.
if you can put like this, it would give more clarity to the reviewer.
Okay, because
If
there
you
will
are
be,
putting,
let's say 50, 70 papers with the help of which we have created this word cloud, and overall references is 100. So I wanted to know that whether we have to mention anywhere that these are the 50, 70 papers with the help of which we have created this word cloud, or is it not required?
so see, simply here you can write that developed by the author from 70 literatures. Okay, and those 70 literatures, if you are writing there as a citation, you need, if you want to mention in bracket, you can mention that for the word cloud these were used, else you can leave it, only references will do your work.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. So next we will move to a different visualization tool, which is the tree map. On the extreme right hand side, we see a tab, tree map, right? So I hope all of the participants are with me on this. Okay.
Yes, sir. We can see it now.
Rest of you all, has the tree map appeared on your page? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Happy to hear. Okay, so you see this tree map. It is also a visual representation of the central constructs and the theme, which are like related to the central theme, but the distance between the two. It shows that which are the themes which have been worked upon more and which less. So the first column, it shows the keywords like employer, brand, and branding, which is actually the central construct of our research work. That depending the moving around these, we will correlate it with the other topics and then develop the further hypothesis. Now the second line, you see employees, company, journal, management. Third line is research, organization, image, value. Now it means that the image of the organization and value for EB, these have been connected. Whereas if you go to the sixth column, then you see the word factors, right? And if you double click on it, then you will see the researchers which have worked on the factors which build the employer branding. So it is somewhat, you can say, worked upon, uh, but we can understand that more work is required in this field. So you see these factors in the papers of Barthon et al., the 5 factors, right? Now, for example, if somebody of us has decided that, okay, I need to study the factors which affect the uh, branding, right? Employer branding. Now, just by clicking on the keyword factors, we can know that which other researchers previously published peer reviews papers have worked on factors and which are those. Now you see factor 1, factor 2, factor 3, 4, development value. These are the factors which are worked upon. So obviously we need to add something to it, or we need to develop a different factor to it, right? So we are seeing the interest value. Then in the second research paper, we see that they are discussing about the job applicants on EB factors. So all the research papers which have talked about the factors. Now you see we have how we have gradually moved from a more micro level of the selection of the topic. That first it was EB only, then the organization of the EB, then the factors which affect the employer branding. So from all these research papers, we can see that, okay, these factors have been worked upon before, and I need not repeat it, or maybe I need to add certain new factor which will be quite relevant to my country or my state or that culture, right? Like in this case, most of the researchers were done on the Western culture. So what we can do, that we can add certain factors like social factors which are quite different than the Western scenario. Right now, for example, if we move more towards on the right hand side, then there are certain you can say keywords which have been worked upon lesser, like we can click on the word career. Now career, if we click, then how can you as a researcher correlate a career of an employee to employer branding? Now you see, these were some of the components which were used: career development, career change, right? So which of the research papers have actually cited it, and what uh, explanation they have given to the career, that you can quickly go through it, right? So in this way, now similarly, if we click the word sample, right? So we all get to know that, okay, what are the various sample size which have been worked upon. So from that we can get the idea of the uh, methodology section, or like, okay, do we need to take the data from the students, or do we need to take the data from the working employees? Like we see here in the, that a sample of 683 students were taken, then it's sample of n equal to 340 for the EFA it was taken. Then in the next you see that sample was selected from Delhi. So size wise, then demography area wise. Now here we see the sample size of the generation X. Maybe we can take it from generation Y, right? Again, if we go down, then there are certain such connections with the sample size. Like I said, related to its sample size, the number. Like you see, the sample size of 223 was sufficient. So we can go to this research paper and see that, okay, what is the kind of sample I need to keep, right? So it also helps us to understand the methodology which has been adopted by the previous researchers, right? I hope this tree map concept is clearer to everybody. That is, the more you move from left to right, the more these keywords have been worked upon less by the researchers which we have cited, right? So is it clear to everybody, all
Sir,
of the
I have one doubt, sir.
yeah.
Sir, we have chosen the word as if carrier, and wherever the carrier has been word has been arisen, तो वहाँ पे
Yeah.
हमारे we are getting the references. What does the word reference 1, 2, 3, 4 mean there? As if you click a word factor, for example, or a
Okay,
carrier.
now, let me click it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I have got the, just a second, let
Yes,
it open.
yes,
Then we can discuss it on a very serious note.
yes.
Yeah, now
We are getting a first word reference 1, reference 2, reference 3. What does this means?
this means that where these texts have appeared in the file 1, Berthon,
Okay,
Berthon
okay,
scale and SEM.
okay,
This is the name of the research paper which we had downloaded. This is a file 1. Next is the file 2. You will see this file 11 is of the employment preference of
okay.
job applicants, right? It shows that where these words have actually appeared,
Okay,
and
sir.
and from that we need to understand that, okay, what is of our help, right?
Okay, okay, sir. Got it. Thank you.
So sometimes there will be a word like financial factors. So will it be treated separately in this tree, or we can get a one particular block for it?
No, it will be taken separately because of the two different words. And as a researcher, you will try to observe that in the text, while you click it, then most of the times it has been like clubbed together, right?
Right. Okay.
Now we move to the concept of cluster analysis. Basically, it is about the representation of the text by the dendrograms, right? Now we see a huge cluster in front of us, right? So what we'll do, just to be more specific and relevant, we will
Dr. Pandya, I think the window needs to be maximized.
yeah. Sir, I'm doing it in a more proper manner. Like I have changed the display words to 30.
Okay.
And now if I run the query, so now I am maximizing it. So now is it visible? Now is it visible to everybody?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah.
We can see it in our screen.
Yeah. So basically, you see that the words or the files which have a higher degree of similarity, means based on the occurrence and the frequency in the text, they have been clubbed together, right? Now,
Right, sir. Right.
here the again the central construct is not named, but you have to understand that it is the central theme, and all these words, they have been connected by the frequency of the appearance, right? So you see that the word research is linked to development and the studies, the students. Then marketing is linked to image and recruitment. See, what you have to do is you have to connect these words theoretically from your subject knowledge of your area. Like I know that okay, the marketing angle of the employer branding, it sees that the recruitment of the prospective employees must be such that that the cost of recruitment is low. For example, I'm saying, right? Then again, we see that the potential employees, they must have certain such attributes X, Y, Z. So once we go through the dendrograms, then we see a relationship based on the occurrence and frequency, and thus we actually try to understand that okay, these are the words which club together. For example, if we go to the last one, then we see employment has been correlated with branding and employees, and the bigger dendrogram is of value. So you see the organizational value has been linked to branding and employees, which is a subset of employment, right? So these are the certain you can say frequency map words which have been given, which you have to write it in your own words in the literature, right? So is it okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So next we will go to the part of the cases where we can actually develop certain common literature review papers, and we can classify them on any basis, on the basis of demography, on the basis of the nature of the paper, empirical or conceptual. So we need to go to the uh, extreme left and click on cases. We need to now close this. Then now you see Nvivo, what it does, it briefly describes the tabs which is working upon. So you see, it is describing that cases are the people, places, organizations, or entities which constitute the unit of analysis. Like I said, that you have to that we can club the literature or the response which we have got, and we can you can say systematically group it based on the responses. That basically, if we have the responses from the qualitative data, then we can even use the coding. Now, for example, if any of you has worked upon the qualitative data, that is data which you have received from interview or case study or observation, right, or focus group discussion, FGD, then how do you actually describe the data, right? Because those are certain statements or answers which the respondents have made, right? For example, this same case of employer branding, if I ask 5 respondents that, okay, what type of employer do you think is good for you? So he may respond to me in 5 to 6 lines. Now, if we take a similar case of an example of finance, that if I ask a investor that, okay, how do you perceive risk before you apply or go for a mutual fund, right? So mutual funds are risky, that is known by most of the individuals, like, but how do we actually perceive risk? That do we actually perceive it in the sense of the timings or return or any other thing? So the responses are qualitative in nature, so that you can analyze here by coding part. Okay, but now we'll see in the cases, right? So I hope till now everybody is with me on this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we'll see the cases part. Like I said, the classification of the case can be done based on the type of the literature which we have taken. So we need to click on this, right? So initially we need to go to the files, right, and we select all, because these are the files which we are actually trying to club or systematically put it into different cases, right? So we right click it, then we go to the part of the classification. Is it visible to everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we go for new case classification, right? So we can give any name to it, like employer branding uh, research papers, and we will like divide it on the basis of type of paper. And then we have to click OK, right? So you see the references has been given, and next we go to the cases classification. So you see the employer branding research type, the papers they have come. Now what you have to do, you have to right click on it and you have to click on attribute. Now what are these attributes? Now attributes are the criterion on which basis do you actually want to divide your research papers. Is it based on the demographic variable? Now for example, you are doing a you have gone through the research papers on which there was a study of gender wise, right? Gender wise on any construct, on employee satisfaction, on a construct of investing in mutual funds. Maybe some researcher has studied that, okay, males perceive risk lesser than females. So what you can do, you can bifurcate those research papers based on that, right? So the name of the first attribute which I can give in this case is the employee status, right? That is, and I'll describe it as working status of the employee. Now the values which I'll give, I'll add that, for example, is he a prospective employee, which the employer is earning to is thinking of aiming him, or he is working in a different organization. I hope you all understand the difference between prospective and working. Like, for example, a final semester student will be a prospective employee. Or, for example, any employee who's working in a different organization, now his branding levels will be different, and a employee who's working in the same organization, his branding attributes will be different. So, what we'll do, we will click OK. So you see a single this attribute has been developed. Now one more attribute which I'll write is country or region, like based on the region of the study. Now this also helps to actually understand that which areas of the research have been worked upon. Like for example, I said that in many constructs or areas of research, many of the research work has been done in the West, right? And we can try to have some culture-wise difference while we do the research in our country, right? So we can write area of research. Now the values which we will put to it, first one will be, for example, Europe. Next will be America. Depends on the scope of your study. Next is Asia. Now, for example, if I am studying on the Asian markets, I need to be sure that okay, that I know that how many research work or the papers have been published in the area of uh, employer branding pertaining to the area of Asia, right? So what I do is I click OK. Now, similarly, we can create the attributes that we can even say that the papers were like the paper type. Was it empirical? Description of the paper, right? And the values here will be empirical or conceptual. So by that actually you get to know that in the micro area of which you are working, which these attributes have been worked upon more, right? Now you have created 3 attributes. Now you double click on the case. Now is this working space visible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Where the research papers have come up and the employee status, region or the country, and paper type. Now since you have as a researcher gone through the papers, now you can actually start to assign these values. I'm just being very random to it for the sake of time, but I as a researcher know that okay, this this study was done in Asia and it was empirical, and the employees were working in nature, right? So we can just go through this, putting the values. Now what we actually need to understand that okay, after all this thing, that what is the inference, then how do we actually get benefited from this? Now, for example, you have worked upon around 20 papers, and later on you click on the paper type. Now you see that most of the research papers have been empirical. Now, as a researcher, you need to probe further that okay, that since all the researches were empirical, that means that I have a very limited liberty or chances of publishing a conceptual research. Because had been that the case, then some of the researchers might have worked on the conceptual area. But since they are less, so I might have to think accordingly, right? Are you all getting it? That how do we segregate and understand the pattern in the research papers, right? For example, in the employment the status, I have found, right, that out of the 15 papers, 13 papers have worked on the prospective employees and 2 on the working. So it in itself shows a gap that okay, only 2 research papers have worked on the working employees who are working in a different organization. So that is a more lesser gap which can be captured and we can probe further. region wise, that you can write in your literature, like is the case in this case, that most of the researcher work was done in Europe. So what I have done, that I have done it in Asia. After
Sir, can you show the process of case classification once again till attribute selection?
Sure. I'll go again. What I'll do, I'll cancel it. So till here, have you developed that by just by right clicking, you have to write new attribute? Have you done till here? Hello?
I could, before the attribute, if you can show, that will be that, because after attribute, I could understand, but before.
Okay. So what I'll do, I'll discuss it again. Okay. So you see, we have created a case by the name of employer branding research papers, because we have the research papers relating to that area, right? Now, what we do, that we right click this and we create new attribute. Now, once again, I'll repeat, what is an attribute? An attribute is the criteria on which you want to differentiate your research papers. Like you see on the three tabs which I have written, the first one is the employee status. There is a bit of minor spelling mistake. I am sorry for that. So employee status, that means that whether the employee is working or not. Now, what have the previous researchers developed? Second, region or country. Now, whether the work has been done in Asia, in Europe, or in America, so that shows the methodology, the scope part of the research, that where have the studies been conducted. Next is the paper type. Now, whether the paper is empirical in nature or whether it is conceptual in nature. Now, once again, I'll develop a new attribute. I'll request you to go through with me. Okay. Now, for example, we have a demographic. You take a data of the education level. Okay. Now, what do we actually understand by education level? That the employees who have different education levels. That for a undergraduate student, for a postgraduate student, and for a doctoral student, the perception of employer branding will be quite different. Do you agree to it?
Yes.
So what we have to do, we have to click on the next tab, which is the values, and we have to add, like whether the research work was done in a bachelor's setting or the master's students, right? Or it was done on doctoral. Now, doctoral will be obviously very less, because most of the studies which are done on the level of EV, they are either done on bachelor's or master's. So we have created a new attribute. Then we have to click OK. Now you see a new attribute has come up, which means education level. Now you need to double click on the employer branding research papers tab. Now you see a new tab has been created by the name of education level. Okay, just a second. So you all can do it till here. I'll just be back. So I hope you all have understood till here.
So there is one thing which I'm facing problem. Once I select a file,
Yeah.
The very basic step. Once I select all the file, And when I go to classification, I have to go to new file classification.
New file classification.
Okay.
Because you see, one can have multiple literature review, like anybody can work simultaneously on some papers, right?
Right, sir. Right, sir.
So that is the case.
There we have mentioned employer branding research papers. New file classification.
Yeah.
Okay.
Name can be. So once again, I'll summarize that what is the whole inference or benefit of doing this, that once you have completed all the coding for all the 15 to 20 research papers, the most relevant ones of your field, and you have divided it on the basis of the criterions, like in my case it was employment status, region, paper type, or education level. It can be based on any type. Like I said, it can be region specific, it can be gender specific, depends on your work. For example, if somebody is studying about the risk perception of the mutual fund investors, now he may classify it based on the rural, urban, semi-urban, or metropolitan, right? Many of the researchers might have worked on either of these four. Now, if we take an example of consumer behavior, now the consumer behavior can be demarcated based on age. Now, okay, but this age people had this, this had this, this had this. Now, how have the previous researchers already studied these four attributes? And hence, from that, we need to understand where is the gap, right? I hope you all have understood.
So for this, we have to do it manually only. So this software
Manually,
will not.
yeah. No, see the selection of the attribute is like something which the researcher develops on his own, right? The software will help you to align the results, and from that, in a single path frame, you will come to know that okay, maximum of the work has been done in the Asian subcontinent. Now I need to move further to a different one. Like for example, in the example of the consumer behavior, that okay, most of the researches has been done in the rural and the urban and the metropolitan. Why not I probe further into the rural area? This you could not have known if you have stored all the research paper in a single folder, and because the reason being you could not have visualized it on in a single go, right?
So is there any way that with this data we can prepare a chart to understand?
Please say it again.
With this data, with the case classification, can we, with the help of software, can we prepare any chart to understand that which research has been done in which area, or we can export the data in Excel and then we can do it?
This is the very chart which we are making, I hope.
No. We have an option to do it. Yes, see.
I'm not getting you exactly.
You can go in visualizations. Dr. Pandya, please share your screen so I can tell.
Yeah.
The Nvivo screen. So you can go to visualizations and create the charts and graphs. Okay. Since we are about to conclude the session, so we'll be coming up in our next event that how to make it, or you can export all these into Excel and make the chart. However, if you want to make the chart from here, you can explore this visualization menu, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
So it is from my end. See, these softwares are basically to assist you in your literature review, but the thought process of the researcher must be very active to understand and actually cite the gap, right? So that is from my end. I hope it was a useful session for you all, and rest we will come up with certain many other sessions like qualitative sessions on the data analysis of the qualitative data, then certain such literature review tools like Zotero is there, right? And certain such analysis pertaining to the bibliometrics. So these are all which are related to the qualitative analysis and literature review. So that we will come up in the coming sessions. So I am handing it to you, over to you, Dr. Vishal, sir.
Dr. Pandya, you can please stop presenting.
Yeah.
Let me take over the stage. So today we have just covered the basic of Nvivo and the qualitative analysis, and I'm thankful to Dr. Pandya for giving his time and useful insights.
Thank you,
What
sir.
we have a perception, and I'm also thankful to the lovely audience. If audience is not interactive, I think that's not going to add any value to the event. Audience needs to be interactive, and that's how the flow of knowledge or the entire process goes on. So in future we'll be coming up with more qualitative analysis. What I believe and what I have observed, that most of us think that qualitative analysis is something which is not accepted in academia or the research papers.
Yeah, this is a wrong perception. I agree.
This is a very wrong perception. Believe me, what you are seeing as a quantitative data analysis is just the tip of the iceberg. Below that tip, at the bottom of the pyramid of this entire research, lies the qualitative research. And believe me, qualitative research is much tough to do than the quantitative one, because in quantitative you have to just crunch some numbers, make a table out of it, and then Neha Chaudhary, yes, Neha Chaudhary, I would like to answer your question. That is, the entire thesis could be qualitative. What happened that in India we have a kind of this mindset. Let me share with you one very interesting thing. Last year in September, I submitted one of my papers in a Scopus and ABDC Index journal. That was totally qualitative paper. The topic was unique. That was electric vehicles in India, current trends and future forecast. Electric vehicles was a buzzword and everybody was talking about it, but no substantial research in India was done. So I just did meta-analysis of whatever was written in the newspaper, the reports of Niti Aayog and everything, and I have submitted that paper. Even I was unable to believe, within 1 month I got pre-acceptance of the editor and no comments from any of the reviewer. All have given it a green signal, go that okay, you can proceed forward. So it's not the case that if you can find that paper on my ResearchGate profile, and you can see it's a totally qualitative paper, and writing a qualitative paper is much tougher than the quantitative one. I am a person from data science dealing with all these regressions and R, Python, everything. And at one point of time, even I do realize that when you create visualizations, when you create something which is data mining kind of thing, so what, or text mining you do and make some sense out of it, people are more easily able to understand those things rather than numbers. Everybody is not good at understanding the numbers. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't do quantitative research. Qualitative research is always substantiated by quantitative research, but if you are having a kind of stereotype, then please be out of that stereotype that quantitative research is the only thing that matters. Qualitative also matters. And somewhere we have to break this glass ceiling that yes, qualitative data matters, and interviews and all these things you can transcribe and write it on your paper. The only problem is we do not follow a proper procedure for doing, because this qualitative research requires a lot of time than the quantitative one. We have to do a lot of things. Suppose if you are taking an interview that needs to be transcribed, there are processes. Means the processes are lengthy, but yes, if you do it properly, the outcomes are better. So once again, I thank you all, and I could see that many people were asking the questions, and a few also have been there on text box, chat box also. And we hope that we will continue together this journey of learning, passing on the knowledge, sharing the knowledge. One or two things I would like to share with you people. Recently, our company, that is JV Edutech, OPC.Limited, has got, I'll share with you, has got recognition from Government of India, the Startup India. And this happened means within matter of a week, that our proposal that was very much liked by the people who were assessing this. I think this certificate is it visible to you people?
Yes, sir, it is visible, and heartiest congratulations, sir.
So thank you. So we got this, and we are also in the process of getting the ISO certification also. And this opens more arena for us to disseminate knowledge, to take some government projects, and through those disseminate knowledge and all. And the entire credit goes to people like you who have always encouraged us, and of course to my entire backend team. Second thing, now your certificates are available online. I am posting the link to download the certificate here in the chat box. That same will be sent on your mail also. And here you can go to the site. You can just click on this. Is this visible?
No, sir.
No, sir, not yet.
Oh, okay, I'm sharing this tab. Now is this visible?
Yes, sir.
Is it visible? Okay. Is this visible? Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You can simply go to this page. I'll share the link. Enter your registration ID. I hope you have got your registration ID on your emails when you register.
Yes, sir. We got that.
So you can use that email, that registration ID that I'm putting mine. It might be slow due to some speed. Let's see. So here you will get your entire certificate generated with the certificate number. The certificate number is same as your registration number, and this will be in our database, which you can use to verify, so that your employer, see, right now a lot of webinars are happening and there are a lot of certificates. So this is what is unique about this certificate, is that this certificate can be verified at any point of time. So you can claim the API score for this certificate, and just if any of the employer asks you that, okay, what is the authenticity of this certificate, you can go to that link, enter that your registration ID. It will always be available in our database. Right? So now I'm signing off. I'm just sharing the this link in the text also, and it will be emailed to you also. And of course, I will be sending you a feedback form. Please do fill it and return it on time, because we value your feedback. So because that gives us always a scope to improve. Right? So have a good day. Stay safe. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
I also
And then,
thank
of course, the video and the presentation will be shared with you.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I would also like to thank all the participants for their patient listening and their interactive questioning and sessions. Thank you from my side also.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah.